Imagine donating nearly a quarter of your salary to something. That's exactly what Mike Norvell did this morning, and the recipient proves something that Bobby Bowden preached forever. This morning, Florida State and Seminole Boosters announced that Mike and his wife Maria had made a $1 million donation to the Boosters, and that with the donation, they were the 300th members of the newly formed Bowden Society. This proved a few things, and we're going to talk about them, but just before that, I want you to hear Mike Norvell's thoughts and words from our interview with him on this very channel almost a year ago to the date.
So, I mean, he's a man of impact, and you go through his career. The foundation of this program was built on work, and it was built on relationships, and the investment in the young men that he coached, the coaches that he worked with. I mean, it was something that was a staple of this program, and the relationships of trying to make that impact, and being there and helping impact on that journey is something that made him special. And it, not only when the program achieved success, it was able to sustain success because of those values and that focus. I tell people all the time, one of the greatest experiences in my life was, whenever probably a month into having the job here, Coach Bowden came up to the office, and he was it was something that I'll always remember, because even though he wasn't moving real well, I think it just had hip surgery, but was just you could see in his heart, and just being able to sit down with him for 15-20 minutes, talking about the impact and the opportunity, and staying true to those things of making a difference that helped draw me here to Florida State. It was because of the passion and the standard of Florida State. And so even though I wasn't ever directly tied to this program, it was one that I had the ultimate respect for because of the leadership. And you've been able to meet Coach Bowden, and that morning, I'll never forget, we got done probably talking 15-20 minutes, and we went down the hall, and I walked him into our coaches room, and I'll never forget the look of the face of Ron Dugans and Odell Hagens when they saw their coach walk in, and the look on their face told me everything I ever needed to know about Coach Bobby Bowden, and the man that he was, the impact that he had on so many. I mean, it was really special, and so I mean that is a lasting impression, and I'm just honored for the time that I got to be around him, and also understand the responsibility of the job that I have to represent him and show respect to all the work that was done before I got here.
He talked about Coach Bowden being a man of impact. He talked about the foundation of this program being built on work and relationships. He talked about the sacrifice and the investment in that interview, and it still holds true today. Norvell talked about how honored he was for Coach to see the former players, Dugans and Hagens. And he talked about how honored he was just to meet them. And he talked about how he realized in that meeting that he was doing work, and he was inspired to continue to do so because of the legacy and what Coach Bowden had given to this program. I want to tell you guys about what's different about Mike Norvell. But just before I do that, I want to give a special shout out to Seminole Boosters. Mike Norvell donated $1 million to the Boosters this morning, and they have plans that literally start at just $25 a year. You can sign up and give $5 a month if that's all you can afford, and you can be a supporter of not only FSU football, but FSU athletics. They have a goal of over 20,000 members for the 20 sports that are at FSU. We've had some videos on this channel go well over 20,000 views. If everyone who watched this channel signed up at the $25 level, just in 2023, we would crush that 20,000 number. Go to boosters.fsu.edu and sign up to be a booster today. If you have questions, throw your email down there in the comments, and I'm happy to try and answer them. I'd love to personally tell you more about booster membership and why it's so important. Here's what's different about Mike Norvell. Number one, this is not just a job to him. Look at the way he handles his program, and look at the way other coaches handle their programs around the country. Look at the way that he interacts with fans, players, recruits, staff, media, and others. And then look at the way that other coaches are doing that. Other coaches do really well in some of those areas as well. That's not to say every coach in the country is struggling with that or that there's an issue, but the way that Mike does it is different. There's a genuineness, there's a realness that I think you get from Mike Norvell that's very uncommon in most sports today, but certainly in college football. Look at the way that Mike Norvell acts around service, the way that he acts around culture. So much of what Mike does and preaches and talks about is about giving back. Do you think it's any coincidence that when athletes work through NIL in Tallahassee, most of it has to do with giving back to the community, whether it's community service or giving back through content that people are putting out for the fans? It's all about service and giving back. We've done other videos on culture and we've belabored this point, but the way that Mike has built this thing and the way that he's turned it around in just 2.5 short years is 100% out of the Bowden playbook. When Mike Norvell came here in 2019, into that pandemic year in 2020, he saw an opportunity, and he saw an opportunity to build a program that was absolutely in the mud. And what did he build? What did he build it around? Culture. Who did he model it after? Well, he just told you in that video that we showed at the beginning. He modeled it after Coach Bowden. What did Coach Bowden preach? Faith, then family, then football. It bears repeating, but Mike Norvell is absolutely cut from that cloth. Coming off of a 3-win season in 2020, I asked Mike Norvell about what Dylan Gibbons was doing by bringing Timothy to Tally, and he spoke about a life that was lived by service. He spoke about the impact of people like Coach Bowden, Dylan Gibbons, and other. Remember how Norvell was with Deuce Spann this year? Remember down there on the sidelines in Miami when everybody was oohing and awing at the way that Norvell handled that situation? Remember what he did as soon as he coached him up real hard? He put him right back in and went to him on the very next play. I think that those things that we see on the sideline or at practice or at camp are the things that speak volumes about where this program is and where it's headed. Here's the thing, guys. Mike Norvell is focused on the right thing. What is the right thing? He's talked about it. Turning young men into leaders and difference makers in the world. We want to win football games. I get it. Florida State's done a lot of that in the past, and they're going to do a lot of that in the future. But there are a lot of ways to do that. And Mike Norvell's method is what's been different. He's not out here trying to just buy the best recruiting class that money can offer that you see in other places of the country. A&M, Miami, we'll call them out directly. He's not just trying to bring in guys that don't fit a certain system or don't fit a certain mold. He's building it like Coach Bowden built it, on culture. Again, faith and family before football, just like Bobby preached. Want to know why FSU is fixed? It's not because Norvell's some genius offensive play caller, which he is. It's not because he's developed Jordan Travis into one of the best quarterbacks in the country, which he has. It's because he values character and relationships more than anything else, like he said in the clip that we played at the beginning. This donation speaks directly to that. Mike Norvell isn't just about words. He's about actions. After winning 3 games in 2020, he didn't make excuses. After one of the worst starts in program history in 2021, he didn't make excuses. After losing one of the most embarrassing games in program history to FCS Jacksonville State, he didn't make excuses. He put his head down, continued to work, and he took action. His team won 5 of the next 8 games in 2021. And then they went out and won 10 games the very next year, beating both of their rivals and scoring nearly 50 points on each of them. What's the takeaway? Mike Norvell's not out here asking you to support FSU athletics and not doing it himself. He's a man who leads by action at practice, in spring camp, in fall camp, in the weight room, on the field, in the locker room, and also with his wallet. He's a man who leads by action so much that he just donated nearly a quarter of his 2023 salary to what he believes in. If that doesn't fire you up and that doesn't get you excited about the direction of this program and its leadership, then your wood's wet. And I really don't know what to tell you. Florida State should have a phenomenal year in 2023. We all know what's coming. The Heisman odds, the ACC odds, the national championship odds, the playoff odds. We've seen all of it. There's expectations back in Tallahassee for the first time in a long time, and it feels good, but it would feel better, I promise you this, if you were a part of it, if you were supporting and you were giving back, just like Mike Norvell did today. I'm going to do a giveaway for folks who sign up to be boosters due to this video. If you'd like to win $50 to Garnet and Gold, comment below that you signed up for the boosters at boosters.fsu.edu, and I'll get in touch with you through my email so that we can get you entered to win. Make sure you're saving money at garnetandgold.com. Use code NOSLAW, NOSLAW. Appreciate them and their partnership and support as always. They also give back to the boosters, so a big hat tip to those folks. Always love working with them. Love visiting when I'm in Tallahassee as well. Appreciate Mike Norvell for stepping up and doing this. Again, it is reminiscent of Bobby Bowden, and I'm pretty proud to support an athletic university and a football team whose leadership is pointing in the perfect direction right now. And if you guys want to know more about that phenomenal 2023 season from an offensive perspective that we mentioned just a moment ago, you can click here. Make sure you're subscribed over on this side so you don't miss any of our upcoming content.